Alright, what is popping gamers? This is PDF, bringing you episode 2 of my series PDF Learn Starcraft 2. This week I began my ascent into mediocrity by playing ranked and placing myself into Platinum 1. My goals for this week were to learn one build order for each matchup, which we did in fact accomplish. We learned Mutabane Ling in ZVT, we have Roach Hydra in ZVP, and a +1 timing attack with roaches in a ZVZ. We spent the first 4 days or so, actually I guess it was 5, because we wound up not being able to play ranked right away because I guess Blizzard hates me. They delayed because I'm positive I've played every day, and I'm also positive that it was more than 10 days, but at the point that I thought I was going to be able to play, it said I still had 2 days left to go, even though I know I had 1 games each day. So first 4 days I spent learning build orders just against the computer, and then on the 5th day we actually played our ranked placement matches, again, just landing us in Platinum 1. We did have a couple of unfortunate games there that I felt like I could have won. We got cannon rushed, and bane of my existence. And then in a ZVZ, we got Ling flooded, and again, I just don't know how to deal with that yet. And then we did lose just one straight-up macro game against a Terran. 2 things that I did not account for with my old build or style. It's not really a build order because there aren't proper... my old style, we'll call it. One is I had easy scouting with the Mutalisk, so I didn't have to worry too much as long as I got in with either an Overlord or some Lings kind of early, and then got to my Mutalisk. After that point we had free scouting. We were gonna know what's going on. And 2, another thing I didn't account for was with standard style of play, you do not get anything that shoots up until you're on the 4 bases. So we were not used to needing the number of queens that we needed. We were not used to building spore crawlers. Generally speaking, Mutalisk could just kind of come in by the time that anything was too intimidating and deal with it. But once we got everything refined, we learned to actually press the Queen and Spore Crawler button. Everything seemed a lot smoother. Macro was way better. Could tell I had a lot more income. Everything felt a lot more planned because it was a lot more planned. And there was just a lot less holes. And I feel like I'm actually patching up little holes rather than driving a ship full of holes and just hoping that it, makes it to land. Overall, I do feel like I did a pretty good job this week of accomplishing my goals. I guess I had extra time to do so, but our builds feel relatively clean. Certainly towards the later ends of it, things get a little bit icky. But up to the point where we're getting our 3rd base, getting our layer, all of that feels very clean. It feels like I can pretty well execute that unless something absolutely crazy happens. And obviously, if there's suddenly 2 proxy gates or something like that, things change up a little bit in that situation. But given that my opponent's playing standard, I feel like I can play standard against it and do a relatively good job, and it looks like someone who's actually played the game before is playing that matchup, which is great. Moving on into next week, we're going to be learning what's happening on our opponent's side, figure out what standard looks like when they should be taking a 3rd, and how to deal with some weird deviations. We're finally going to figure out how to deal with a cannon rush. We're going to try and figure out what the tells are for a Ling Flood, or how I deal with a Ling Flood once it's at my front. Things like that, so that we're not just immediately losing games right off the bat if we see something that is not standard. So that's our goals on the more strategic end of things. On a more mechanical end, I do want to make a conscious effort to actually properly do the Zerg macro cycle, start spreading my creep. We really have not been spreading creep up to this point. It just didn't seem like a priority. I kind of stand by that. I did it when it was convenient and it felt comfortable, but I didn't make it a top priority. And at this point, I feel like we should probably be going ahead and working on at least implementing that, if not, hammering it in to where we're doing it constantly every 30 seconds on every macro cycle. Just at least getting a nice ring around like my natural and third so that we have a little bit more vision and our units can actually move around to defend. I don't know if we're going to have long streaking things of creep by the end of this week. We'll see. That would be fantastic. That's not going to be... That's like our number 3 goal behind actually injecting regularly, building overlords regularly, and the number 1 goal is just figure out like how the other races play so that I can, identify non-standard play and try to learn some of the responses to weird kooky things. Alright guys, if you made it to this point, I do appreciate you. Feel free to leave any questions or suggestions for the series moving forward in the comments. At this point, I am accepting backseat gaming, so if you think that there's a gigantic glaring hole that I need to remedy before other things, feel free to leave that in the comments, and I will take a look at that. I do appreciate you, and you all have a wonderful day.